Hi, my name is Caroline DeFreitas. I'm the HR Director for Soho Medical Doctors.
Hi, and I'm Falana Galileo, one of your HR generalists at Soho MD.
And today's topic is sexual harassment in the workplace. What is the definition of sexual harassment? Well, today I'm going to tell you. Sexual harassment is a form of sex discrimination that violates Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Sexual harassment describes unwelcome sexual advances, requests for sexual favors, or other verbal or physical conduct of sexual nature. Title VII is a federal law that prohibits discrimination in employment on the basis of sex, race, color, national origin, and religion, and it applies to employers with employees including federal, state, and local governments. Falana, today, can you please tell me what are the two types of sexual harassment?
Yes, the two types of sexual harassment is quid pro quo, or this for that, and hostile workplace. So Caroline, could you give us an example of quid pro quo?
Yeah, quid pro quo actually is it's very serious. It is when, for example, an employee is working, and let's say their supervisor or manager comes up to them and speaks to them of going out to dinner, let's say. And they might decline. They might feel weird, may feel even uncomfortable, which also taps into the hostile environment. They decline it the first time, let's say. And then that supervisor or manager comes back again. And this time when they come back again, they state, if you go out to dinner with me, I can give you a promotion, or I can get you a bonus or a raise or any of that nature if you come out with me. That's a quid pro quo. And Falana, talk a little bit about that. That is considered, right, a quid pro quo.
Absolutely, that's quid pro quo. And for both types of sexual harassments, we're talking about in the workplace or whether this takes place outside of the workplace. So let's say you do go out to dinner and this is where that exchange is happening and you're uncomfortable, you're definitely entitled to report that as sexual harassment.
And I also want to say that there's a lot of videos, employers have created a lot of videos around sexual harassment, but in our society, we also know this can happen to same sex, right? So I want to also be mindful of that. This is, in those older videos, they have a man and with a woman. This can happen with all race, all sexes. There's no discrimination there. And so I just wanted to really hone into that we're speaking of same sex as well. Okay. And it is something to look out for. And with that, Falana, I wanted to talk about the next part of it because quid pro quo can also lead into the hostile environment. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes, I think hostile environment is one of the most common sexual harassment to take place in the workplace. And a hostile environment is if you're experiencing unwanted touches or sexually oriented jokes or comments, that would be a hostile environment for you to work in.
Yeah. And the really good thing to note is that, I think employees sometimes are afraid to report the incidents. And so that I want to shed to light too is why are employees so afraid? Why do they become, they fail to report if they then victimized of sexual harassment?
A lot of the times, unfortunately, employees just don't trust their workplace. They don't trust HR or their supervisors to handle the situation correctly or to take their complaint seriously. And we really hope at Soho MD in particular that we can prove that this is a place where we take all of your complaints very seriously. It is very important, and we do want these sorts of instances to be reported. But I would say a lot of employees are hesitant to say anything. Also, in the instance of quid pro quo, there may be some fear of retaliation happening, and we also take that very seriously, and that is not the case.
I have to say our founders do a really great job of that. They make sure that we do investigations, and it's also to note that it could be anonymous. So all sorts of reports will be investigated, and it's not tolerated at our company. We'll do a full investigation to understand what's going on. And I really love that side of us, because we do take these allegations, reports, or anything like that very seriously. I also want to shed some light, Falana, in terms of how do you do a complaint? How do you file a report? What is the process?
So to file a report with us, you would just need to reach out to HR. You can even reach out to your supervisor if that makes you more comfortable. The report will still go through HR, but do whatever makes you feel the most comfortable. You could also submit it to us in writing if you felt like an email would be the best way of communication. But we definitely have open doors. Please let us know if something is making you uncomfortable, if you have any complaints that need to be recognized and investigated.
Yes. And for our HR, our HR professionals, if you're unsure of what to do in terms of the complaint, make sure you speak with general counsel as well. So that's really important. Once you have some sort of a report and you're doing an investigation, you do speak with your general counsel. You can also go to SHRM. SHRM has a lot of resources and contact professionals there to help you with the situation. So I just want people to know that in our company, if we're unsure of something, we certainly reach out for other resources. And I think that's important too, for employees to know that your company may not have the answers. But certainly your company should strive to research and to learn and to understand what they can do. Okay. But we do take these matters and concerns seriously. I also want to share, Falana, you talked about the steps, but what is it to be included in the report? I want to share that in our findings, the report should have basic information, but very detailed information. I think a lot of these videos do not share that, and that's why this training is so important. It's that you have to name the accused, right? Their full description of the incident, including dates and times and locations, text messages, voice notes, or anything that you may have, pictures if necessary. And then making sure that you name any potential witnesses, how the incident affected one's job or mental well-being, because that definitely is going to be impacted, and any other information that you believe that is important. Even if you think it may not be important, just, list it so that we have it. And a report should be done written and or verbal. You can call HR. I always recommend, even to our employees, that we make sure that even if it's a verbal conversation of having a report, that you also write down what actually occurred. Because that is just good for investigation and collecting of data. Okay.
I did also want to mention that it's not entirely on you as the employee when this event happens to remember that you need to gather all of this information. When you reach out to HR, we'll make sure that we're gathering that information for you. So you can focus on getting better and getting through the reporting stage, because we know that is not fun. And so we'll make sure that we gather all this information for you. But just as a heads up, these are the things that we will be asking for.
Yeah, and it's taxing and it's draining, and you are unsure, especially if it's a supervisor. Will I lose my job? Should I really report this? So I want you to know, after these type of harassments, we also want to make sure that we create a safe work environment. So HR may go in and have a group of trainings around sexual harassment. So it's not isolating any individual, but it's retraining of the entire organization. So those are some of the things that HR does, and maybe some, other trainings that would be needed. But please note that at our company, not only are you doing investigations, but there's actions being taken place. Someone that is, found, guilty of sexual harassment in any sort of way, you can lose your job. You can be terminated. You can lose benefits. There could be criminal charges pressed against you. It's something that's very serious. And so at this end of the statement, I know this is pretty heavy topic, a heavy training to discuss, but it's very important that you know that at Soho MD, sexual harassment is not tolerated, and all of your reports will be investigated. Okay. You will have a policy attached, and you will see that policy within our company. I do recommend other professional HR professionals to attach your policies along with your sexual harassment videos, but please certainly know that is what we do at Soho MD. Thank you so much, team, for watching, and we appreciate you all. Cheers.